Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to The Rambler, or me talking, or whatever this show is going to be called. You're watching some GTA 5 footage, and my beautiful self on GTA Online. Ton of fun. If you haven't picked up GTA 5 yet, I definitely would recommend it. And there was some sort of glitch there, I just noticed. That was very weird. Anyway, Nintendo. Nintendo is the granddaddy of games, unless you remember the Atari, which most of my viewers probably won't, but most people know who Nintendo is. Most people have played a Nintendo game, they've played a Mario game, they've played a Zelda game, a Metroid game, anything like that. They've played Smash Brothers, they've, bought all kinds of Nintendo, not just hardware and software, but accessories and stuff like that, stickers, plushies, keychains, statues, amiibos, you name it. Nintendo is what we think of when we think of gaming. But they recently were knocked off of the most 100 recognizable brands list for the first time since 2001. The 2014 list was just released, and for the first time Nintendo has not been on there. Now, Sony and Microsoft are both on there, Microsoft being the lowest at 85, and Sony being up in the fairly high ranges. I believe it's in the 20s. And it's interesting to think that. And the reason that it was given, and when of course people were notably outraged because Nintendo nothing hath no fury besides a woman's scorn or a Nintendo fan neglected, but the reason that was given was that they weren't up with the times. They couldn't adapt to the changing game industry and the changing industry in general and everything like that. Like sites like Facebook are so very easy to adapt and go mobile and have certain things that just make them recognizable as a brand. And at first I was kind of angry. I thought the list was completely bogus, and I was like, who the fuck are you, coming around saying all this crap and blah blah blah, and saying that somehow Microsoft was more recognizable than Nintendo. That's like saying that, I don't even know, what is that like saying? I there's not really a comparison to make. It's just really difficult to think of when you think of something recognizable, and when you think of video games, you're going to most likely be drawn to Nintendo. But the thing is you really have to think about why Nintendo isn't. And when they say they haven't caught up with the times, it actually makes a lot of sense when you really put some thought into it. Nintendo is a game company in the sense of they do everything. They have been notably hostile towards third-party development and having third-party development on their systems for a very, very long time. And the reason that stuff like the NES was so successful and had hundreds of games, over 800 games, is because of the third-party support that happened, and that console was extremely successful. But modern Nintendo seems to stray away from that ever since stuff like the N64. Now, that's not saying that there are no third-party developer stuff. There is some, if you really want to dig, but the fact that Nintendo thinks they can always survive on Mario and rehashing Zelda, rehashing Metroid and Star Fox and all of their nostalgic titles is definitely something that might work for now, but it's not going to work for them forever, because nostalgia is something that is temporary for sure, and once your nostalgic fan base dies off, who's going to be around to purchase your games anymore because they don't care, besides maybe some kids? And don't let the Wii success go to their head either. The Wii was successful because it was a family system, and stuff like the Wii Fit and Wii Sports were something that mothers bought and used, and generally, because it was cheap nature, people bought it as well as a Netflix system, which is why, again, it was so popular. But I understand in that sense, and I also understand on their sense of the hostilities of the gaming community and their creator program on YouTube. Now, Nintendo has been notorious with their copyright policies and stuff like that on streaming websites like Twitch and, of course, YouTube, as well as multiple other sites and stuff, and they've completely destroyed accounts and stuff before. They've had major troubles with networks and stuff when people try to upload Nintendo content. There are very few high-end YouTubers that are allowed to even put Nintendo content and then monetize it. Some of them aren't even allowed to monetize it. And it's just a big, big mess. In fact, my next-gen announcement video, which has the Super Mario World from the Super Nintendo theme in it, which it's you can kind of hear it. It's there, but it's not. It's a very subtle sound. Is copywritten. The video is still up, but ads run on it. I'm not making the money from that. Nintendo is. It's copywritten by Nintendo. And they're very hostile towards everybody that tries to put stuff up on YouTube, but that doesn't make any sense to me. Microsoft and PlayStation have both embraced and love the exposure that Let's Play videos get them, that reviews on YouTube get them, that live streaming games on their platforms get them, and so do game developers. Game developers love it because people go and people buy their games. There are huge AAA developers that go to these reviewers on YouTube now and ask them. They give them free codes. They give them the game for free. They, give them special accesses and stuff like that. They go to events and stuff and talk with these guys and befriend them even. And because they know it's good practice. They know that they're going to make some money off of it. And they know that these guys are genuine. These guys are going to make them a fair amount of exposure and money. And remember, no publicity is bad. Day One Gary's Incident, which is a terrible video game, and Total Biscuit, ripped apart, and then ripped apart the developer because he removed his review video or whatever. That game sold fairly well. It was on top selling charts for quite a while. So was, what the hell, that crazy zombie infestation stories or whatever it is now on Steam. That sold fairly well because of the bad publicity it got. People were interested. And Nintendo is, I don't know if they're afraid or if they're just stuck in the past, but things like Mario Maker, that would be huge on YouTube. One, because it's Nintendo. People want to watch Nintendo games because they're fun, they're harmless, they're family-friendly. People will watch them from all age groups. All age groups enjoy Nintendo and want to watch Nintendo. And Mario Maker, with the release of Mario Maker, people being able to make their own levels, play all kinds of crazy shit that has never been seen in Mario games before, and speedrun attempts and crazy ultra-hard stuff, is all stuff that could be on YouTube getting millions of hits. Millions of hits. It could be on Twitch getting hundreds of thousands of people watching it from famous YouTubers playing it and famous Twitch streamers playing it. It has potential, but Nintendo doesn't see that. I don't understand why they don't see that. Super Smash Bros. Stuff like League of Legends and Dota and stuff like that have tournaments and stuff now, and have massive world championships with thousands and thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people watching, and then getting hyped and going and playing the game and buying the game. Smash Brothers could be one of those types of things. It's a game set up for tournaments. What do you do with your buddies on the weekend when you have a Wii U and Smash Brothers? You play, you have tournaments, you laugh at them when they lose. It's something that could easily be done. There are some small Smash tournaments that are just not sponsored by Nintendo. Can you imagine a Smash tournament sponsored by Nintendo and broadcast on Twitch? Can you imagine the hype? Can you imagine the viewership that they could bring in and the money they could make just off of ads alone? Nintendo is the grandfather of modern video games, next with a company like Atari. But unfortunately, Grandpa's starting to show his age, and starting to show that he's a bit more racist than we thought he was. And he's a little bit more grumpy and cranky than Grandpa was before. And that's a problem. And unfortunately, if they don't change their ways, it could be the end of them entirely. I'm hoping that now, with some new management and some shuffling around, they might make some decent changes in the future that help both their brand and the community at large to really embrace Nintendo again. There are a lot of people that I know that used to just breathe Nintendo, live, breathe Nintendo, and they've kind of grown a bit sour to them because of what they're doing now, their practices, what they're not doing, what they should be doing to not only get ahead and compete and all this kind of stuff. Like, they're going into mobile games, which is great. That's one step forward. Stuff like Pokemon Go is definitely a huge step forward. That will sell like crazy. But they really need to do more than that. And unfortunately, I fear for the future of Nintendo if they don't change stuff like that and if it continues to go the way. Because all publicity is good, but unfortunately, if you have too much as a company, it can eventually be bad. And I don't want to see that. I want to see Nintendo around, you know, when I'm much, much older, when I can show my kids Super Mario Bros. Wii, and tell them of a time when Nintendo was great, and how great they are now, and when they slipped up, but they managed to pick up their heels and keep on going. I really hope that Nintendo tries to do something and they get back on this list, but unfortunately for right now, it's not looking good, and I hope this might be a wake-up call for some Nintendo executives. But that's pretty much it for me. If you think anything I say is correct, let me know. If there's anything you want me to talk about in the gaming industry at all, please let me know as well by leaving a comment or whatever. And I will see you all next time. Peace.